Now, opposition political parties in Nigeria have, in a joint statement, called on the Conference Committee of the National Assembly to adopt the position of the House, which supports the mandatory electronic transmission of election results in real time. Now, the African Democratic Party, the People's Democratic Party, and the New Nigeria People's Party accused the All Progressives Congress of being behind the Senate's decision not to pass the real-time electronic transmission of election results in order to achieve its alleged plan to rig the 2027 elections, warning that the move could undermine Nigeria's democratic progress. Now, the opposition described the decision as retrogressive. It says the Senate's stance has attracted widespread condemnation from Nigerians across political, ethnic, and religious lines. Well, still on the issue of Electoral Act Amendment Bill regarding electronic transmission, we're now joined from our Lagos studio by James Agada, a technology expert. And here in the studio, in our Abuja studio, we're joined by Bukola Idowu, his Executive Director, Kimpact Development Institute. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on Newsnight. Now, I'm sure you listened to a previous conversation with the spokesman of the Nigerian Senate. The argument along his line of argument is that, look, internet penetration may disenfranchise Nigerians if indeed we go by transmission in real time. Of course, we know Nigeria has about 50% internet penetration. Let me ask you a direct question, and this would go to James Agada in Lagos. Can we achieve real-time transmission of election results in Nigeria in spite of the limited internet penetration?
Simple answer, yes.
Okay, so how exactly do we achieve that with about 50% internet penetration? Are there no challenges?
There are challenges, but there are technical solutions to those challenges. So let's look at them. First of all, you could use satellite communications everywhere in Nigeria with Starlinks. And people will say it's very expensive. Yes, I agree it's very expensive. But if you look at the budget of INEC, they could actually spend 10% of their budget and they will provide a Starlink setup in every polling booth. That's one. If we assume that we can't afford Starlinks, some of us who are old recall that there is something called fax. And we're using fax to transfer images and information with only voice. So even when there is no internet, you could use that technology. It still exists, it's still being used. You could use that technology to transfer information. So yes, and that works everywhere where you have a voice service available. So before you even get to start thinking about where you have 2G or you have SMS and then you have mobile internet, insofar as you have some network availability, you are able to transfer those information. The technology exists. It's not even new, it's old. So I don't know why anybody will be making that kind of argument.
Okay, Mr. Bukola Idowu, thank you for being on Newsnight. I mean, I wonder if you agree with his line of thought or with the Nigerian Senate, and I'm sure you've been following the process. But one wonders if delayed transmission is actually more riskier than failed transmission at all, given what we saw in 2023 elections.
So I think I agree with this line of thought. It's possible we can transmit election results real time and with the resources we have. Interestingly, I was able to observe US and the last US election and the Ghana election, and you will still discover that they were still using fax in Ghana, in the US, for some of these election transmit. And I think the issue is not because of the internet penetration that decision was taken, because we need to, you see, if you are taking such decision, you need to back it up with data, you need to back it up with facts, and say, oh, as of today, the reason why we did this is because 80% of Nigerian locations don't have internet. But when you don't have that, and then the decision is purely political, and that is what you have. So we can transmit. And again, one thing you need to understand between technology and the electoral process is this. Nigerians cannot be disenfranchised because there is no internet. Because you are not talking about vote, you are talking about results. Voting, you can disenfranchise Nigerians from voting, which is not the case here. Everybody will vote. Now, when you collate it, transmit the result electronically, which should not be difficult for anybody to do in 21st century, most especially an institution like INEC that have that huge budget on ICT.
Right, let me stay with you, Bukola Idowu. Now, I mean, there were glitches experienced in 2023, and they were attributed to technology. Or would you say that those glitches were actually more attributable to technology, or would you say that it was more of operational, issues? I mean, some of the biometric machines actually malfunctioned.
So I think, you see, the issue around glitches is not about the beavers that was used on election day. Right. That is one thing we need to first of all understand. It's about the IREF portal that could not receive or display result that was being transmitted or uploaded on that. And again, it is difficult to now say whether it is operational or technical, or it is just like an IT, because INEC as an institution have not even been able to come and say this is exactly what happened. I don't think an independent audit has been done. See, in South Africa, they have a blackout during the election around the result portal, and they conducted independent audit on what exactly happened, and the result was there. All the political parties have the result in South Africa there, but our own, of course, the spokesperson of INEC came out and said, well, there was a glitch, and that was the end, and nobody talked, and we didn't even know what really caused it. So, because if INEC has been able to establish that it was operational, then we know where to go to, or technical. So it is very difficult to say. But however, when you look at the pattern, it looks deliberate. And when I say pattern, because if you follow that, what happened in 2023 carefully, the first thing that was happening was that the result that was being uploaded on IREF was very blurry at some point, and then at a particular point, it stopped. So, and at the end of the day, when everything was resolved, those blurry results became very clear. So what it means is that there must be a stopgap somewhere around that, and that's basically, and that is why Nigerians, everybody is now saying, look, the reason why you can do that and go scot-free and nobody is being held accountable is because there is no legislative backing for this thing. Right. So you need that legislative backing so that they will be able to be up and doing. Okay. And that is what Nigerians are asking and asking for.
Indeed. Mr. Agada, let me bring you back into the conversation and very quickly. There are those who will argue that perhaps what the Senate has done is to align with reality on ground, that Nigeria perhaps is moving too fast ahead of itself, and it requires minimum steps at this time, whether it is education. We've seen technological problems with JAM, WAEC, NECO. In 2025, 2026, 2024, we continue to see those lapses, or even with elections. So they argue that the Senate might have taken the right decision because we just don't have the technology for real time, including the internet, to back it up. Do you align with people like that who say we have seen failure with technology across board and not just with elections?
Anything technology can fail, right? But the thing with designing a system is that you take into consideration the fact that these failures will happen. To give you an example, some of the very early machines that were sent to the moon, they had 3 computers, and the 3 of them will have to vote before any particular operation is carried out. If the three of them agree, they go ahead. If one starts disagreeing, they kick it out. So the same way you design what we call fail-safe systems. Now, the issue really is, in my view, is not whether Nigeria is ready or whether Nigeria has the technology and all that. I think we do have all of those. But what we need to ask ourselves is, was the INEC system designed to be fail-safe? I don't think so. In fact, it's even very much more worrisome in that, has anybody reviewed this INEC system? Has anybody reviewed the even the BREV, the BVAS? Has anybody reviewed the system, the IREV system? So there's no information. It is a black box. It's only INEC that knows how these things work. So when INEC says there's a glitch, it is only INEC that knows what the glitch is and how the glitch came about, which for me is the very definition of a system that is designed to fail at any time. So for some of us, we believe that there has to be significant oversight of the technology itself. Professional organizations and others should be able to review the technology that is being used to conduct elections. Even parties should be able to review those. Because in the end, we all have to agree that the technology can work in our environment and should be able to deliver what is designed to deliver. Right. I think...
We'll have to leave it there.
I think
Thank you very much. A very fundamental,
it's a
fundamental point that James Agada raises there. We'll have to leave it here, actually. James Agada is a tech expert in our Lagos studio, and Bukola Idowu is Executive Director, Kimpact Development Institute.